So in this video, we're going to take a look at accomplishing a basic foot sweep and just practicing by ourselves. Okay, there are some key components to doing a foot sweep that you want to be paying attention to when you're looking at doing this in randori. Okay, first thing is we want to have a very relaxed stance. Okay, so if you're bouncing without your feet leaving the ground and then resting, you should have a good relaxed knee bend. That's super important. The next thing we're going to be working on is the motion of our hips and our hands together. So when we're in this position, I'm moving my hip, I'm pressing into my hip to help amplify that foot sweep. Okay, I'm not just throwing my leg across, I'm using my hip and I'm sitting into it with my right leg. Okay, and I'm passing it through. You can practice this on one side and then practice on the other and make sure you get a good feel for the technique, okay? The direction of the foot also matters. The one thing we really want to try to avoid is creating an arc with our foot when we're hitting our foot sweep. So from the side view, we can see this line coming down the mat. What we don't want to do is stand here with a straight leg and create a spin where our foot moves over and around, which is what you see a lot of people doing, and they're creating this spin rather than developing power with the hips and through the leg to finish the technique, okay? We want to practice a good, solid, basic foot sweep where we push off one leg, we land on the other, we transfer our weight, and then I sweep straight down the line, okay? We're going to use some cones here just as an example, okay? So I have a cone placed center. Okay, I'm gonna start with it lined up with my foot. That way I can push just past it and I get a little bit of motion into the technique. Okay, as I push, my foot should cup the cone with my pinky toe just sliding across the edge of the mat. It's important that I try to slide the cone as far as I can and then come back to neutral. Again, I'm gonna push and then slide it a little bit farther. Come back, push, and then slide it a little bit farther. Just working myself down the mat with my cone, okay? As we're starting to learn how to sweep and get more and more power in our legs, where we've developed some strength in our quads, when you sweep, your leg always reaches an endpoint where the sweeping leg runs into the plant leg, right? There, and my foot, you can see, if I line it up here with the cone, it's almost in line with my other foot, right? It gets stuck when it runs into my own quad. That's why you see some people creating a turn to get the extra distance. But what we want to do is we want to sweep our opponent's feet out and away from us. The way you get the extra distance is by squatting on this leg. So once you've made contact, you're going to squat, lean a little bit so that you're in line on the sweeping side. Now you can extend that leg past and then catch yourself on the return. So we step, we transfer that weight, I'm in a good squat, and I lean straight line all the way through, okay? From shoulder, hip, knee, and ankle, straight line. It's like you could put a 2x4 attached to this side and you can sweep with it and then come back, okay? So with our cone in position, our foot's in line, we push off, slightly past, sweep, come back, push off, sweep. And we're just gonna work ourselves down the mat, making sure we're moving comfortably and smoothly through it. Once you feel comfortable doing that on both sides, one of the things you can do is you can just work on passing the cones left and right from each other. When you do this, and you start with 2 cones, okay? Once this happens, and you step and sweep, the cones are gonna get separated, but because I'm stepping and sweeping, at some point, I'm always gonna reach an end range with my cones. But you'll notice that the cones are always about a foot in front of me on either side. And that's because I'm extending with my hips, timing my pull down on the sweeping side so that everything is working together, okay? My hands are always gonna be up, and I'm working on passing and using my feet to generate, okay? Making sure that my foot is cupping and not dragging, okay? Again, I just want that pinky toe on the mat. It's important that you engage the core and your quads and your chest, your hands, so that your muscles understand how everything is working together, okay? Sweeping back and forth. It doesn't matter that I don't touch the cones every time. It's a point and an indicator for me that I'm reaching out and not turning the corner. Okay, we want to avoid spinning into the corner. We want to make sure we're reaching out so that we can go get our partner's feet and have a good, effective foot sweep. As you get better with this technique and you're able to move fluidly through it, you want to make sure your chest and your eyes stay up the entire time, because you want to be able to look at your opponent and then hit them with a good solid foot sweep in either direction. And that's going to be the basic shadow drill for practicing your foot sweeps.